If I were to start all over on Substack in 2026, this is the exact way that I would start and some of the exact strategies that I would use to grow. Even if you don't have an audience or a following on Substack yet, even if you are introverted or a shy marketer, or you want to find a way to market your business with complete ease, Substack is definitely a good option for you, or could be a good option for you. And we are going to talk about that right here, right now. I think this is my third video here on YouTube where I'm actually talking about Substack and my experience. And I promise each time that I will come back and update you guys. So that's why I am here today, not only sharing some strategies for getting started in 2026, but also just to share my journey with you. I've been on Substack for 1 year, about 1 year now. And in my past videos, and feel free to check those out if you want to follow my journey, I started out just kind of quiet on the Substack platform, not really posting anything, just observing to see what was going on Substack. So I wrote my very first Substack post, guys, really not knowing who would ever read it. I didn't feel like I was even that much of a great writer. I felt like I was more of a speaker. And I started out just focusing on business only on Substack. So I really figured I would just use it as another marketing channel. But it really, really did turn out to be so much more. So I feel like Substack for me has grown to be such a major platform for me. I'm pretty sure that it has given my business some visibility, but it's really turned into more of an authentic space for me to really share my thoughts and feelings about certain things that are not just so much business. And it's really just been a great place to attract my ideal audience, or my tribe, or my people, and allowed me to express my voice and be so very authentic. So I think that Substack, if you're tired of social media and some of the other platforms, I feel like Substack still is such a real place to grow, to speak, to gain more visibility, and to really attract your real true tribe there and show up authentically. One of the reasons that I am in love with the platform still to today, even after over a year, is because I feel like you can really put content out there that really hits the heart. I feel like you get to be yourself. You genuinely get to serve your audience from your heart. And I feel like it makes a space for content creators and writers to be able to do that efficiently. So if you have been thinking about starting your own newsletter, or blogging, or just marketing your business in a way that feels aligned, here are a few reasons why I feel like Substack might be the right place for you. You own your own content. You own your own list. You build real connections and community. You set your own pace, and you get to focus on what matters to you most. You get to just get your voice out there and be heard and grow in visibility. So my latest milestone on Substack probably isn't the greatest one out there, but it is the one perfect for me. In about a year, I've grown to 2,000 plus subscribers. And let's just get into it. I want to share my exact strategy with you for how I've grown over the past year. So number one is going to be define your own success on Substack and let that success breathe. And let me tell you what I mean by that. So we all have different goals, different dreams. We all have different perspectives and ideas around our growth and what that needs to look like. So instead of coming onto this platform, looking around at everybody else and defining your growth based on someone else and what they're doing, I feel like that's the longer path to be able to grow on the Substack platform. So whereas for me, 2,000 plus subscribers in a year is a great pace for me, and I'm growing every day by the day, and that feels really good to me. There's somebody else that may want 10,000 subscribers in a year. There's somebody who might want 500 subscribers in a year. So I feel like we all have our own goals and what success gets to feel like for us. And those goals, when I say let them breathe, allow yourself to be able to define those goals. Allow yourself to be able to change and pivot as you go. When I first came onto Substack, I was talking about subscription box businesses, which is still something I do. I'm still a business consultant and I still help businesses to grow in strategy and purpose, okay? But I kind of pivoted in my messaging on Substack and started to focus more on motivation, inspiration, spirituality, being a Godpreneur, what entrepreneur gets to look like for people who love God and who are very spiritual, right? So my entire messaging started to change. So again, define what success looks like for you versus coming right onto the platform feeling intimidated and comparing yourself with somebody else. And another thing is, it's okay if you start on Substack and you have one direction and then later you decide that, you know what, this isn't the direction I want to go and I want to pivot. So define your success and allow that success to breathe. So one thing I do want to plug in, guys, is that Substack, yes, I know that you've heard that you can monetize your content on Substack. You can have memberships, paid memberships on your blog. You can definitely do all of those things. I started out kind of on and off with a paid membership, and I actually had a few paid subscribers. I decided to turn that off a while ago. And the reason why I did that, guys, is not because there's anything wrong with it. I just feel like that was not the aligned strategy at the time for me. That could change at some point. But I felt that everywhere else I was online was monetized. My content is monetized everywhere else. Of course, my business is monetized. So most of the things that I do in the digital space is monetized. I just felt really uptight. I felt like my creativity was stifled. If to be honest, I really felt like it was in a box, and I really felt pressure to show up on certain days all the time. I felt like I had the pressure I had to write and I had to provide this value. And I just really it didn't feel aligned for me at the time. So once I turned off my paid subscriptions, that way I feel like I'm just free to show up and write and create when I'm most inspired. I feel like that's the most aligned place or aligned way to do my work on Substack. So again, if you want to get started on the platform and you decide that monetizing is the best way to go for you, you definitely should go for it. But I just wanted to plug in that that's just something that I decided not to do and why. Number 2 is notes are necessary. Okay. And I know one of the most common things that I see writers talking about on Substack is they don't feel that notes are very real, or they feel like notes are very superficial, or it feels too much like Twitter, whatever you call Twitter now. It feels too much like Instagram. It feels too much like all the other platforms now that I feel obligated to post my notes. But notes are necessary. If I had to grow again, start all over again in 2026, I would be posting those notes every single day. So what has helped me to shift focus when it comes to posting notes is that I no longer look at notes as this thing that I just have to do. I no longer look at it as an annoyance. I now have repositioned my perspective around posting the notes because they help you and they help your end reader as well. So with notes, 2 things get to happen. You get to share more about your belief system, your mindset, your strategy, your purpose on Substack. You get to share more content over your notes that align with what those content pillars are that you have. And the people who are reading it, they get to discover more about you. So notes are more like a meeting place. My words are getting all tied up. They're more like a meeting place where you and your readers, or you and your potential readers, get to meet each other in the middle. And you're kind of giving the people on Substack a preview of what you're all about. It's a quick preview of what you're all about with them having to go and read your entire newsletter. So you want to strategically position yourself through the way that you post notes. They can be reshares of things. They can be blurbs from your blog posts or newsletters. They can be different things, but you just want to make sure that when you do post notes, whatever you do post is number 1, service focused. So these are things that are going to help the lives of the people who follow you or the lives of people who may see it. But also it's like a preview of like who you are, what you believe in, what you write about, what your space on Substack is all about. So once you shift that focus and understand how powerful it is for growth, I mean, there are, I don't know how many people a day, but several people are following me per day who have never once read my newsletter, but they've kind of met the introduction through reading my notes. So definitely make sure that you get into posting notes. That is a quick way to grow on the platform. And I guess if we talk about service first through the notes, let's just segue into number 3, service first. I feel like once you start to shift your mindset on who is receiving the value that you are serving, that's when you get to show up more powerfully. I feel like when I first joined Substack, I was more like in the mindset of how can I serve myself well? How can I serve my business well? How can I get more visibility to my business? And I'm not saying that that was a wrong thought to have or a wrong desire to have or a wrong goal to have. But once I shifted that focus and said, you know what, God, how can you shine your light through me on this platform? Like, how can I serve others? How can I make people understand things better? What can I do? How can I serve? I feel like when I shifted to service focused, that's when I started to see more results and more growth quicker on my Substack. So just remember that when you shift your perspective to service focus, I feel like when you're service focused, you have no choice or there's no hindrance in attracting the right audience to yourself. When you show up to serve, you show up with your voice, you show up with your message, it is a clear signal to those who need to connect with you, to those who need to follow you, right? And it attracts those right readers to your Substack. Number 4 would be honor your pace. I know that one of the hardest things for entrepreneurs, writers, whoever you are, and you're getting your works out there in the digital space, one of the hardest things for even content creators is feeling like you can actually honor your creative flow and moving at a pace that works for you, the way that you've been designed, the way that you've been made up. You know, you have marketers and you have people out there and you have writers and you have content creators who are showing up several times a day. Every 2 hours they're posting something. They seem to be on all the time. They seem to be on point when it comes to scheduling their content. Maybe you are feeling left behind. And that has definitely been me sometimes. So I feel like Substack provides a space where you can show up very authentically. And of course, I'm going to use that word authentic several times, but it provides that space for you to be able to show up the way that you need to, in a way that feels really good and right without punishing you for it. I don't feel that their algorithms punish you for being away for a day or two. Of course, if you're away all the time, the algorithms may not show you any love, right? And that's on any platform. But I feel like Substack is really laid back and allows you to show up and be in the flow that aligns according to how you were designed. So you are invited to rest, take a break, and return whenever like inspiration calls and you're ready to get started again without feeling like you're being slapped on the wrist for taking a break. And that's what I love about the platform. So my last tip for 2026, enjoy the process and just trust the ebbs and flows. Creativity does not always flow the same way. I mean, every day does not always go the same way in life, work, business, whatever it is that you're doing. There are going to be some ebbs and there are going to be some flows. And as with anything in life, there are going to be different seasons, even on Substack. So there are going to be times when your notes are doing really well. There are going to be times where you have 65 people or you have 1,000 people to read your post. You don't even really understand why this particular blog post got all this traction. And then you do another one, you can barely reach like 20 likes. So allow for the ebbs and flows and enjoy the journey. Actually enjoy yourself. You get to do something for yourself and for others that actually feels good and gets to be really enjoyable. So make room for your growth. It's all good. Sometimes it's going to be tough. Sometimes it's going to be high views, low views, whatever it is that happens. Allow for the change and just kind of roll with it. So don't forget, guys, I have a couple more videos on Substack. And of course, you can visit my Substack, which is called Commerce, Coffee, and Jesus. And you can read about all 3 of the different posts, including this one, which sort of follow my journey and give tips on how you can grow your Substack. So definitely leave me a comment below if you enjoyed this, and be blessed. I'll talk to you guys soon.